was Rogue Sun, like dark theme kind of guy, sorry, so yeah, it's like so back right by something you can see what's up there. I will apologize in advance. I'm going to go a little bit over into the Q&A time, so but I will be around, grab you and then perhaps chat about anything. Here to talk about resilience through malleability amongst it's back quite a well actually like the top conceptual developing your expectations. So yeah, super quickly I'm going to go through the whole shameless plug bit very quickly. We're Roxanne, founded back in 2016, ex-line entering Kuju, so yeah, lots of mentor's experience, worked on some games you might have played on your consoles, on your mobile phones, and most recently back in we released a game called Tin Hearts. If you asked me before I walked up on the stage, it would probably have been because of this. It's a narrative puzzle adventure. You're quite well. Here was Game Pass. Yes, on Game Pass actually. If you want to go play it, you can find it on Game Pass. So better get good like in Steam or Switch on everything. VR, actually the VR version cost at least a couple of weeks, I don't want to say. So it's on every platform because we're mental. So yeah, go play it. It's a fun game. Alongside cards, we'll be also doing certain work, I guess. So in our capacity as a co-dev, Studio Tonki talked about co-dev. So actually, yeah, my talks to start with the ad bit. So let's talk to about the kind of things that hopefully are more difficult to you. Actually, I don't know how much of this will be difficult to you because do we have any founders in the audience or aspiring founders? Okay, cool, all right. So yeah, a lot of this is going to be about, I guess, running studios and kind of a bit like Tony's talk, sort of managing teams, but Tony's talk was actually very specific. Mine is going to be a bit more high level. Yeah, so it's like saying, okay. So yeah, so the strategy that I'm going to talk about, like I said, is our kind of dual capacity as a studio that builds on original IP and also doing some work for hire to survive these times of turbulence. So here you are, waiting. Okay, there's some cool stuff there. I think my presentation is killing your laptop. I'm very excited. This was sort of, it looks like lies work fair here. Right, so original IP, how do you go about pursuing this? This is kind of a cycle. Like when I zoom out, look at sort of what I do, I guess as a studio founder, manager, director, a lot of my time spent in this kind of loop of securing finance, managing kind of our operations, and then talking about the stuff we do, so people can talk to the buying products. So yeah, it kind of boils down to your CC how to how small it is. But yeah, obviously there's a lot involved in all of that. So I'm going to break it down a little bit for you. So first of all, finance, access finance. There's so many resources to tap there. In fact, this is copy-pasted from the Ukie website, because I'm lazy. And we just got that in there. But I'm going to talk to a bit more about like the specific things we have some experience with. Public funding, the top one. This kind of boils down to the UK Games Fund. I mean, it was other kind of funding, but this has been. People know about the UK Games Fund? Anyone counted? Yes. Cool, yeah, so we've actually benefited from this scheme a few times. In fact, we're doing a project right now with their help. There's also, well, I'm talking about the Games Fund, might as well talk about the Games Opportunities newsletter, curated by Son McDonald, so that's a great newsletter if you're looking for these kinds of options. There's factory leads, which again, it kind of boils down to, well, there's R&D credits, but there's also VGTR. I was looking for try and icon for VGTR. There isn't any because it's a boring government thing. Well, I found this which I thought quite amusing. So yeah, Rockstar can get away with benefiting from a bit of what's actually sold in your SME studio. We've benefited from it. I would say a studio working around if it wasn't for it. Like I said, we'll be going to go into the details about what is a bit of a process. There's loads of resources and lots of support for how to apply and to secure it. Then publishers, this is an area that we have a lot of experience with. Over about 7 years of us being around, obviously we've tried to pitch many publishers. Usually when people talk about publishers, when people talk to me about publishers, they're like, where are they? How do I approach them? They are out there, yes, it's true, all the stories you've been hearing. They are definitely less or more risk averse, I guess, these days. But they're out there, video games haven't gone anywhere. This is kind of like a random thing. One of the many resources on how to find in the search publishers in the business. It's a podcast, very good for founders. They publish this video game publishers list. And look at that there because it's so small on this screen. So that's a really good starting point if you're just looking for who are they for you even a front day. And these guys, they also do, I'm not affiliated with them, so yeah, they also do lots of free content on this specific thing, like this dev. So yeah, go and check it out. And there are also these events, right? It's something called Develop. London Game Festival against finance market, which is very kind of finance focused. GDC, if you can afford to go there. So Meet to Match is a great thing that it's basically matchmaking with publishers. You can afford to go there. Ukie, sorry that's time, but anyway, basically you can talk to Sam, you actually mentioned didn't you about Gamescom coming up. So yeah, we do some amazing work around supporting developers, subsidies, other kinds of support in terms of like meeting space, the matchmaking, like say, that's still out there last time, so can really see that basically it's like our busy. So this was, I didn't go and see you, but my partner Chris went, and that's his kind of, and then came there in a meeting basically from GDC. So things are still happening, and you just have to persevere. There's these other events, kind of more consumer focused, PAX, CSVOL, EGX, but it's still really good to put yourself out there and potentially do some business as well. And there's also from these Asian guys out there, there's more and more of them these days, which are great. I think there's some people, myself included, when I started this, I'm not necessarily kind of naturally sort of geared towards doing this kind of thing. So there are people who, as far as free service, usually you will have to give away some of your revenue or pay up front, but it still should be useful. Right, this it was like the things on that list, but like saying get through everything. So development, again, Tanya did an amazing talk about the specifics of like production, I guess. Again, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more and talk about one thing when it comes to like the operations become development, which is culture. So the thing that gets talked about a lot, and it's kind of like, does it mean culture is kind of a soft thing? And it is a soft thing, but it's also really, it is super important, and it's basically the thing that kind of gives you, what we talk, from the perspective of resilience, it's the thing that gives you that kind of team sort of cohesion, and it gets you to the tough times. And the way that works really practically is basically, it's well every day, but especially during those times, is these shared kind of values they can divide into, keep each other kind of pushing through, and kind of really keeping the beliefs of the work, and letting that motivate you through the tough times. So I'm going to talk about our culture super quickly, but again, it's just an example. None of this is like a gospel. The idea is that you see like an example of these things, and you do a way and think about what this could mean for my student and my team. So one of our culture pillars is that we're very experimental, and so I just mentioned in ours is like a narrative puzzle adventure, and we've got like martial arts fitness things, and we're experimenting in the survival craft kind of space, and party games and all kinds of things. And that is part of our culture. It's kind of like we enjoy kind of, as gamers, we enjoy different genres, and as game makers, we enjoy kind of building different things. And it's interesting because I talked about like this is one example of culture. usually some people might tell me, well, where do you specialize really? Have to have an identity kind of thing. It's like, well, no, not really. That's kind of our culture and, what you can describe in someone else's culture. As long as we're kind of consistent, it works. Another thing is that we're very kind of quality sort of driven, very kind of obsessive around quality. Because of some of the awards and nominations that 10 Hearts received. And again, something that kind of brings us together. You kind of really, really push to satisfy that sort of criteria when we build things. Which is kind of blessing and a curse. I could go again, look at the very conscious of the time, so but definitely happy to talk more about these things. And then the other thing is like personal growth. We really put a lot of emphasis on personal growth. Like we will prioritize that over anything. So practically what that means is that if someone wants to work on a feature and they don't necessarily have that skill set, not only will we allow that, but we will encourage it. We will help them go and find out what you need, and we will support you in that journey. And this is something that game developers, I think, really appreciate. The thing about culture is that you basically want to be very consistent and honest about it. So you build your products based on it, you operate your day-to-day based on it, and you hire coders. And like your culture could be anything, but as long as you are honest about it when you bring people in terms of how you run things, then it just comes together at one time. So the third thing that we always the promotion, right? When I think about that, obviously super important, and it's kind of like practically what does it mean? And it means really to me what it means is that you want to think about what is your story, right? Everyone has a story to tell, so you really want to think about what your story is, and put it out there, and then you want to think about how you put it out there. And like when it comes to the how, the way I look at it is kind of like the sort of the introverted approach and the extroverted approach. And I think for us, we probably lie more into the sort of introverted side of this. And when you're an introverted kind of studio or group of people, doesn't mean that you don't get to tell your story. You just don't have to. You still have to tell your story because it's a massive part of being successful as a business. It just means that you have to find the way to do it. And that practically means working with a publisher or an agency. See Steve somewhere here, he helped us with that. So find the tools that you need to use, right, to succeed in this. So why production? I'm sure there's some super cool things, including like dev diaries. There was a collaboration with Sigmund Fry, who did an audiobook and animated short story. They did a music video, and they even did which is kind of weird, and maybe not the best moves, but again, I want to call that out because it's that sort of experimental approach where people try things and double down on what works and make you point that things that don't work, like wrapping uppers. On the extroverted side of things, we've got I was thinking about this, and I was kind of trying to come up with examples of like people that I think do this really well, and of course Mike Biffles and Randy Smile and Jake Burkett, if you know them, and our very own Gary Birchall, who's today, he's probably busy launching Century, but so these people that do the whole kind of open development really well, I think. So if you feel like that's more you, I would really kind of study their sort of modus operandi, try to replicate it and see what is it that makes their approach really successful. And then obviously kind of even smaller, some examples here of like some things that I've been doing really well on TikTok, and I think that's a very interesting thing to like monitor. And with the kind of those things out there, basically what it means is it doesn't really matter which approach you take. You still have to educate yourself on this aspect of things because it's super important. And I'm just kind of rushing through the last slides now. But there's some resources, come and ask me if you want to find out more on that. And of course, still the events I mentioned before, be there. There are amazing PR opportunities, but also the great because you could kill two birds with one stone. You can do PR and biz dev at the same time. So at the start, I kind of talked about our dual capacity as a codec and the studio and original IP studio. Codec is great, again, in the context of resilience. It's still really key for us in terms of surviving, basically. Like last year, I don't think we would have survived it if we worked with some of these projects that we're not really lucky to work on. But yeah, obviously, some kind of trust on the point there, keep the lights on. But even beyond that, there's some really real kind of benefits to engaging. Upskilling your team, for example, on a project that is not yours. Flame Bow is a Guildford-based studio. Really good friend of ours, actually, from Linehead. It's Linehead again. People say Guildford, actually. But yeah, we have people working on that. They were traditionally in the studio. We have people who have upskilled. There are real expertise there. The UKGF project that I mentioned earlier, that's an Unreal game. So, we managed to kind of capitalize on that multiple ways. And then, yeah, Project Variety, people enjoy. Tin House was actually 7 year old to continue his study. It was a 7-year project, so, people enjoyed kind of working on other things in the meantime. Studio portfolio, we've got other things to show for interpreting and stuff. If you want to do coding, where do you go to find these resources? Well, the UK games industry Slack, that's my top thing. I would say 80% of these opportunities were found through there. Obviously, born locally here in Guildford, we've got Guildford Discord. Ukie, an amazing resource, amazing people, super supportive and helpful. I think they should always be like your first point of contact when it comes to this or anything else, when it comes to growing your business. Me Too Much we already talked about. Indie Mega Booth, it's been quite interesting for us. That was something that we, through being at PAX a few years ago, that was really interesting for us because we managed to kind of plug ourselves into the sort of US ecosystem through that networking opportunity. And then again, agency, I mentioned it before, they will help people this sort of thing as well if you wanted to do more conduct. Cons, of course, yeah, it's not on when we're in e-boards, your own stuff will be slowed down, and there's some team fragmentation. You go from like working with a single thing as a team of people to kind of multiple projects. And it dilutes your culture as well, right? So these are real kind of problems when you decide that coders that you have to balance with your kind of culture and your studio growth. Yeah, so that's kind of more or less it. If I had to summarize everything, well, I don't need to because this amazing man has already said it for me. Basically, be like water, right? Be adaptable. And be ready to kind of take the shape of the problem. And also water, I guess the last thing is that, it's also, it embraces things, right? So it's soft wave, you see it can crash through waves, also embraces things. So, resilience is great, but, make sure you kind of keep your entity and your humanity as you try to make yourself kind of more resilient in your studio and build that grit to survive times of turbulence. That was it. Any questions?